Welcome to Mark's Hot Takes and Debates. Today's discussion is going to be over, is the movie better or is the book better? This goes for any movie/book franchise, I guess you could say. Anything that has a book and a movie. And we might even go into if it's just a book or just a movie and the benefits and pros and cons of each. So, Max Cox, welcome. Thank you for coming. Mitchell, thank you for coming.
Glad to be here.
We will start with Max. What do you think, book or movie?
I'd say movies. Yeah, love Harry Potter. Love that series as a kid. Can't tell you I've read all the books. I think I got to 3, and I was just like, yeah, it's not for me.
Now, I will say, everyone that likes Harry Potter that I've talked to has said that the books are way better.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well.
People tell me books are better, but, I just not much of a reader, Read a lot as a kid. Kind of like watching movies,
All right, and Mitchell, what do you think about this whole books or movies thing?
You can't really understand the movie unless you read the book. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you want to watch the movie a second time over to completely understand it or look up an analysis, you're still reading some of it from you're reading part of the book, So I think reading the book is more beneficial and then watching the movie, but at the end of the day, the book is better for you.
Now, I see what you're saying. Now, do you want to go into maybe your favorite book that's also a movie?
Ooh. I'd probably have to say Holes. Holes is a very good movie. Stanley Yelnats, spelled backwards as Stanley Yelnats. You wouldn't understand that unless you were reading the book because they highlight in the book. It's a great book, but also it's a great film that I like to watch in my free time. So I'd have to go with Holes.
Now, that does make sense, and both of you. So, do you think that books and movies, there should be a movie for every book or a book for every movie? How do you feel about that?
That's the thing. I think something that does not match up together is, horror movies. I don't think, I don't know. I've read some good horror movie books, but I don't know. I feel like horror movies are just better as the movie, not the book. And so, Small 2, I watched in the theaters. Very good movie. I don't know if I'd be able to get that same, emotion from the book.
Yeah, I agree. With horror movies especially, a lot to do with it's the music, the atmosphere,
sure.
Maybe just even being by yourself watching the movie or in a theater or something. You get the surround sound going. It really amplifies the mood versus in a book, you don't really get that. You can't get music really from a book unless it says eerie music playing, which really doesn't add any effect.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I really wish that one day we're going to get to the point where technology will be built into books and then it's going to play music while you're reading. So I feel like we'll get to that point one day, but right now it's kind of unfortunate not having as many good horror books to read.
I see what you're saying. Now, you say you like books more, but how do you feel about audiobooks? Because I feel like that's really a good in-between on the issue. And I'll ask you after this, Max. I want to hear what you have to say, though, Mitchell.
Me personally, I like audiobooks. If I'm running out of time to read a book, or if I want to read a book or listen to a book actually while I'm driving, I'm going to turn on an audiobook because I can multitask, drive and listen. It's just like music. I would even consider music to be sort of an audiobook because some music tells a story.
I do agree with that.
So, I think audiobooks are good. I like audiobooks.
Now, you said you could multitask while you're listening to the audiobook, but do you really feel like you're getting the full experience of the book if you're doing something else while you're doing it?
I think so. I think you can. You have to really focus in and kind of hone in on the book, kind of instead of what you're doing. Listen with your ears, see with your eyes. It's kind of like driving. Sometimes when I'm driving, I really focus in on the music while I'm driving, And I feel like with audiobooks, you can do that as well.
That makes sense. And Max, I was wondering, so you say you like movies more, and you brought up horror movies. Are there any other kind of movies that you think can't be as displayed as well in a book?
I would say comedy. You cannot tell me an Adam Sandler movie would be better as a book, Adam Sandler just brings that funny vibe to it. I've laughed so much with some of my friends watching some of those Adam Sandler movies, but I don't think I would get that same experience if I was popcorn reading a book of Adam Sandler,
I do agree with that. Adam Sandler, he's a funny guy. I love the guy. I mean,
Me too.
I'd say my favorite Adam Sandler movie, it's either Hubie's Halloween or Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore's a good one.
Both those are great movies, and I really don't think you can display that really in a book as much as you can in the movie. Or even in an audio, you wouldn't be able to get the Adam Sandler. He's just a funny guy. I mean,
that type of guy.
I agree. And Mitchell, so actors in movies, they're able to portray these characters in the books. Do you feel like they do a good job of that, or do you feel like sometimes maybe they get it wrong?
I feel like they do a good job sometimes. Shout out all the Christ the King 8th graders that were in my 8th grade class. We were reading the Westing games. The characters in the movie just really didn't kind of match the characters in the book. And the book kind of ended up being better. A lot of missed pieces in there from some characters. Some characters were left out, which was unfortunate. And, I feel like sometimes it's the case where the director or whatever wants to leave some pieces out, and it's kind of crucial to the book or to the movie. And but I think sometimes they do a really good job portraying the characters.
I agree with that. And Max, I'll bring that point to you because a lot of movies are based off of the book and not really books based off of movies.
Yeah.
And they do leave things out quite often. And
Sure.
that's a good point. There's really no arguing that part. But
Yeah.
do you think that it's okay that they leave these certain things out, or do you think that it's bad if the movie leaves anything out that the book had?
Well, the thing is, one of the situations where I will agree with, Mitchell's standpoint, where the book is probably better than the movie, is, The Great Gatsby. I read that freshman year, and then we watched the movie. I almost fell asleep watching the movie.
Yeah,
And,
it was a boring movie.
It was a really boring movie. Black and white, just not a very good movie. But,
Now, they do have one
Yeah.
that's not black and white.
they do have one that's not black and white.
Leonardo DiCaprio's in that one.
Exactly, yeah.
And that, I will say, was not a boring movie. But
Really?
I have read the book also, and I will say the book was better.
Yeah.
Really
so
was.
I am going to have to agree on that. Now, moving on, this is kind of unrelated, but Mitchell, what's your favorite book since you're on the book side of things?
My favorite book, I'd have to go with the Bible. You really can't beat the Bible. Being here at a Catholic school, we're kind of reading the Bible almost kind of every day. So I have to go with the Bible because there's so much action-packed stuff in there, especially in the Old Testament. You got Moses and all those guys. So, give me the Bible.
I like that because also that's a great example of a book that really can't be a movie.
Exactly.
There's just so much to it. There can't be a movie for that.
There's too much depth.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And Max, since you're on the movie side, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Gotta be probably one of the Hunger Game movies, but probably the fourth one. But I'm more of a TV show guy. That's
Okay.
one of the things that I don't think you can make a book series on a TV show.
That's a good
But
point. That's a good point.
I'm a TV show guy. I love TV shows.
All right, well then, what's your favorite TV show?
Probably The Flash. I watched that when I was a little kid.
Very good.
Really good series.
Now, they do have comics for that, which are kind of
They
like
do.
books. So how do you feel about the show and the comics? If
Yeah.
you've ever even seen the comics, I know I haven't.
Yeah.
They're pretty old, but I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I was a big fan of Dog Tales. I think it was what it was.
Dogman?
Dogman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dogman.
Yeah, I figured that's what
Dogman, that's kind of like a comic. Never read any of the Flash comics, but Dogman, I love that one. And then also
Captain
Captain
Underpants.
Underpants, yeah.
Oh, little
Such a good book.
Funny stories. Funny
Really good
stories.
novel. Really good novel.
A lot of laughs.
And I'm going to agree with you on that. TV shows are another thing, kind of like how the Bible, you can't really make it into a movie or a show or anything. You can't really turn a show into a book.
Very true.
And that'd be just be a really, really, really long book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like my favorite show, Breaking Bad. I don't
Oh.
think you could make that into a book, or if you did, I don't think it would be anywhere near as good as the show was.
Absolutely.
That show, one of the highest rated shows out there, and I recommend it to anybody. But
Very
definitely
good.
could not be a book. So I'm gonna have to agree with Max on that. But I do see your point there, Mitchell. That sometimes books just can't be movies.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's going to conclude today's episode. This has been Mark's Hot Takes and Debates. We discussed movies versus the books. We had great ideas from both sides. Max, thank you. Mitchell, thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely great day today. Good episode. I look forward to the next one. Thank you.